everyone. Today I am so excited to be speaking with author Susan Pethick and her newest book that is out on Amazon right now. And she's going to hold it up for us so we can see the cover.
Oh, yes.
Yes, is The Dog Who Came for Christmas. Look at that dog. Thank you, Susan. Thanks for talking with me today.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking me.
Yeah, well, I'm loving all these Christmas books, and
Yeah.
I have never really read, I should say, that genre. And now that I've been reading them, I'm like, oh yes, everybody should read Christmas books. It's so much
Can't get
fun,
enough of them.
you know? And yours was a really real Christmas book for me because it dealt with the family issues
Yeah.
and what we're all going to deal with coming up in a couple days.
Oh, oh, yeah. Good and bad.
Good and bad. It wasn't that, it was like it was just real. To me, it was like you really hit it on because, we could fight and then but in the end, we kind of just all decide, you know what? We could fight, but let's just get along.
No, absolutely. It really is the essence of family. When you come right down to it, it's like it. Those are the people you come from. Those are the people who mean the most to you. They aggravate you the most, but in the end, they're the ones who are closest to your heart. And I think I was trying to get that across.
Yeah,
So,
and this book has everything. I mean, it's not only does it have a dog who's on the cover,
yeah.
but it has a love story or
Mhm.
two, and we don't do spoilers, but it has a love story or two, and then it has like an atmosphere of like everybody knowing everybody. Living in a community where everybody kind of knows everybody, whether that's good or bad, too.
Well, it's a small town,
Small town.
and there's a sense of support, but on the other hand, kind of a sense of everybody's in everybody else's back pocket, I mean, or in their,
Yes.
kind of knowing what they're doing, and but every place, is there are pluses and minuses.
Yeah, and I grew up
I
in a
felt
small
that,
town.
yeah.
Yeah, I really related because I grew up in a very small town. And, one of those where you could, I walked to school and you could be like, and so lives there, and so, it's
Hmm.
so different
Sure.
from now because people didn't move like people move now.
Oh yeah.
It was so different because even cars, like you knew people's cars because you
Oh,
kept cars for like
oh
10
yeah,
years,
absolutely.
you know?
Uh-huh. No, you're right. There was a real sense of identity, and I think there still is. I mean, pardon me.
That's okay.
Um,
It's very early for Susan. I got her up. I woke Susan up. So.
yeah. No. Oh, I just violated one of my.
That's
Um,
okay.
eh, what I did, part of the research for this was to go and I spent a week with my cousins in South Carolina. Now, my father was from South Carolina. My mom was from California. They met during, World War II. And my dad was the only one of 8 siblings who moved away. But yeah, so we, we always traveled back there to see them and stuff. But it's remained for the most part still a very small town. And so I went back and stayed for a week with my cousin, and we just trying to sort of absorb that atmosphere. Growing up in Southern California, I mean, it was a tiny town when I was tiny, but then it grew and grew and grew, and it's not, the same. And to go into an atmosphere where literally, I mean, I have so much family back there, and not only they know each other, but they're connected to many people, and it's. I wanted to recreate that, and it was. You feel like you're in loving arms, and sure, there's some feeling of everybody knows, but that's kind of nice. I mean, what if you need help? What if you need
Right.
assistance? And Renee has been sort of, I mean, in the book
Right.
has been thrown into. Okay, she's moved from New Jersey. She's from Camden. She's used to having a lot of people, but sort of
Right.
anonymous, and now she's suddenly in this little town where it's like everybody knows everybody, and it sort of jars her.
Yes.
Yet at the same time, there's that feeling of, oh, but I'm being lifted up. I'm being supported too. I hope that came across.
Absolutely. And it's kind of interesting because last week a cousin of mine. I have a lot of cousins, and I grew up with a lot of cousins. But my one cousin, who I hadn't seen, said that she needed to come up to Pennsylvania. I live in Pennsylvania, and she's in Florida, and take care of one of her aunts. And she said, and I said, of course, stay with me, And she was like, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Of course." I haven't spent 2 minutes with her in like the last 10 years, at least. And it
Oh
was
my,
weird. We're the same age, but she showed up, and it was as if I had seen her yesterday. Like,
yeah,
it's very strange with cousins that way. Like, you don't have to be with them.
right.
You get together, and it's all of a sudden your family, and it's just,
Yeah.
and you pick up right where you left off.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah, it's like no time at all went by.
Yeah, and that's
It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling, isn't it?
it
Yeah, it's
is,
like
and
old friends and again, family relations. Yeah, very much the same that way.
yeah, and I related to Renee because I have a brother, and I don't see him very often either because he also lives in Florida. So I see him every couple of years. It used to be more regular, but as you get older and kids, and it gets
Oh
a
yeah,
little bit.
oh yeah. Life gets complicated as we get older.
It gets a little right, but I know, like, same with him. It's like if I were to be around him, it's they picked up right where they left off, and it would be
Sure.
like that. But I love, and I'm going to read the first line of your book because I like to do that. I like to pick a line. Sometimes it's a first, sometimes it isn't. But with you, it's the first line because I think it really sets it up as to how this story is going to go. And I thought it was brilliant too. So, and it's kind of basic. It says 1, 2, 3, 4. I was like, and then you get into this child that's counting. And right away, I have 6 children. So I've been through children. And right away, you're like, oh, okay. Because you say in the next couple of lines, like, he counts. That's what he does. And
Right.
so right away, you're set up with, okay, this is a special child, and this is what this is going to be about. Okay. And I just thought it was brilliant to start with the counting because that's what he does. And I thought it set up the story really well. So I'm kind of one of those one line people. I really like that, especially the first line. I've always found that I need something that's going to draw me in. And that right away drew me in to the story.
Well, thank you. I'm glad. I was hoping it would.
Yes. Well, it did. So, okay, so we have him and we find out, and I don't want to give spoilers, so you can stop me,
Something's probably on the cover. Let's see. Yeah, I think you're going to be fine.
Okay, so we find out that he has OCD.
Yes.
Okay. And then you go into, there's another person in the story too that's autistic, and how how that story brings them together. And I was wondering, like, in your life, like, how is this special enough to write a story about?
Well, it's okay. I had an aunt who had OCD for one thing,
Right.
and she's gone now, so I think I can talk about her. It's sometimes not really obvious. You can be a brilliant person, you can be a creative person, you can be a person who's making it in the world and still stumble over this in a way that makes it very difficult. And for a child, especially when they don't have any insight into what's going on, and other children, I don't want to say children are cruel, but they're often they see something that's odd. And, some kids are nice about it, but some just see an advantage, and so this child has already moved in from out of town. So he's kind of a new guy, do we like him? Do we not like him? And then he does this weird thing where he's counting all the time. Why is he doing that? He makes faces. He, chuffs and things like that. And it becomes something to ridicule. And it makes it very difficult for this child. He's trying to fit in. He's in a new school.
Right.
His father has left the family. He's got other challenges. And now, this is tough. Seeing that from the outside, you have, especially, we talked about relatives and having that kind of connection, you can say, but this is a person I love, and they've got so much going for them, and this is a very small, relatively small thing, but it pervades their lives, and it gives you some empathy there. I also needed to give my love object, Travis, a challenge in his life. Whenever most of my books are basically kind of love stories.
Mm-hmm.
You have two people who have they have challenges. They're not necessarily happy where they are, or they don't know if they're happy. Maybe they're happy in a way that is just one level. Okay, I'm successful in life. I'm making a lot of money. I'm getting out there, and but they go home to a lonely life, or they go home to a problem and things that aren't settled there. Or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe things are going well at home, but they're going out and the job isn't going well, or their health isn't good, whatever. And so you're always looking for some sort of challenge that way. My daughter is a teacher, and she's worked often with children who are autistic. And they're sometimes the kids that she enjoys the most working with. Right. So I kind of see that through her, too. How would a teacher see this child? How would they be dealing with this?
Yeah. My one daughter, the oldest one that's going to be watching this video, because she does my social media. When she was 15, she taught gymnastics at a large gymnastics school, but she fit in so well with the special needs kids that she ended up, that was her thing. And I used to always think that was so interesting, but I think that it's because she actually wasn't an adult. She was still, and she kind of related to them without trying to fix them or something, or trying to make them do, it was a different kind of a thing. And, and she loved it too. Like that was, she was so happy to be that person, and, so I loved the way you took their special needs and the way the story kind of revolved. And that's all I'm going to say, because I don't really want to, but OCD, what I found interesting was that you use that, because that is thrown around a lot. Okay. Like even amongst people be like, oh, I'm so OCD. Oh, I'm so, about this one thing, but this isn't about a one thing. This isn't about being, OCD in a way that, you're just.
It's not keeping your house neat.
Yes. Right. Yeah. Right. It's like him being in his head all the time, constantly, and knowing that something's off, but not even really knowing what, because he's only 9, so.
At his age, he's blaming himself.
Right.
How kids will do. It's like, I'm doing something wrong. I'm bad. Kids always seem to blame themselves for things like that. He even blames himself for his parents having broken up. Right. He thinks, well, if I wasn't doing this, Dad would still be here. Things like that, which are typical kid things to do. But as an adult, you say, no, that's not the case. But yes, it does. It pervades a person's life. It often dictates where they'll go and what they'll do and what they're able to do. You ever seen the movie As Good as It Gets?
Yes.
Okay, Jack Nicholson's character in that, it's he goes to lock the door and he locks it and he unlocks it, and back and forth, and you can see he's just trying to stop, but he's caught in that, I must do this. At one point in the book, and I'm not spoiling anything, but Kieran is asked, do you, why do you want to do this? And he says, I don't want to do it. I have to do it. Right. And and that's what it is. It's just that it's like a rule book you're following that you don't want to follow. Yeah, exactly. It's in your head.
It's in your head. It's in a cycle in your head, kind of.
Right.
But anyway, I love. Okay, so the parts that I love is the dog and how the boy finds this dog, and and how they have this relationship, and that's the beautiful part of the story and the fun part about So I did see that. So I went back when I did my research on other books you've written. I mean, this is a theme.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So are you a huge dog lover? Do you have like 10 dogs or,
Oh, no. We're between dogs right now. I love all kinds of animals. Pardon me. I've just got a frog in my throat today. I hope your son will edit that part out.
He will.
When I was growing up, we were in a very rural area. So I had a horse, I had a dog, we had multiple cats, we had fish, I had a lizard, a snake, a tarantula, a hamster. The snake and hamster never met, don't worry. Okay. And, but we had ducks. And it was wonderful. I just loved animals. We had a couple of dogs, sequentially. Now we have cats. We don't have a yard that's real dog friendly right now. But when I was 16, going to be 16, my parents asked me what I wanted, and we had not very long before that had lost a dog, um, and I missed her. And they said, well, what do you want for your 16th birthday? I said, I want a dog. And they said, well, you can't have a dog. What do you want? And me being wonderful, child that I was, I said, well, don't get me anything. I know it's embarrassing now, I was a bit stubborn maybe, but it was just, I just want, there's something about having a dog. I mean, I love cats. Dogs are they're very tuned into people.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
Yes.
And I know, well, look at the history of breeding dogs and everything, but especially at that point in my life, and maybe this is part of the reason I sort of related to Kieran in that way. You come home and, you're worried about, was I wearing the right clothes? Did somebody look at me the wrong way? Do I have any friends? Whatever. And the dog is there and they just love you. They want to be with you. They want to follow you around. They'll listen to you. I can remember coming home from school and somebody was picking on me. And Willie would just sit down and put his head, and just look and listen. And I could say, I had a really bad day. And I just felt better. I felt, I, I don't have OCD, but I do have ADHD, which was not diagnosed until I was quite a bit older. And, there was that feeling of, I'm just dumb. How come sometimes I'm smart and sometimes I don't, or why do I get distracted? And it was very calming.
Oh,
Having that animal just look me in the eyes and he seemed peaceful and I felt peaceful, and it was I wanted to get that across,
Oh,
so
yes.
even though we don't have a dog right now, you can't forget that,
Right.
and I have tons of dog friends. We've got dogs all around us and they're my pals. If you've ever been to my Facebook page, Sue Pethick, people, I have pictures of dogs in there who are dogs of friends. I consider them friends. And, it's, so no, there aren't a dozen here, but I never forget. And I do love all the ones that I have,
I know.
that I have.
And I was thinking about my dog growing up too. I had a dog growing up, a dog and a cat, but my dog was like, I always felt like he sensed when I wasn't, like if I wasn't right, and I'd sit down and being in my very dramatic teenage years of, and he would be like right there and I'd be like, I know, can you believe it? And then I felt like he would attach himself, he would lay on me or attach, I just felt like he understood me, like maybe nobody else.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I agree. And this is something that, again, in the book that I did quite a bit of research on this. Temple Grandin, I don't know if you know who Temple Grandin is. She's a professor. She is an expert on animal behavior and also on autism. She happens to have Asperger's syndrome. And but because of all the work she does with animals, she has written some books, and one of them especially was about the interaction of people and animals and how important that bond can be, especially for someone who is dealing with a mental illness. And I thought, that's a lot of what's going on here. You see people now, a lot of folks who have like comfort animals, if they have, anxiety or other, it used to be, I mean, obviously you have people who need a dog, if they're blind or something like that. But now people are seeing how helpful an animal can be if you have emotional difficulties.
Yeah, a therapy dog. I mean, there are therapy dogs and elderly people. They always tell them to get an animal. To get a dog or a cat or something that they can look forward to. Or be with. They're not lonely. they have this animal. So yeah, there's a lot. I mean, and
I haven't
like
heard of a funny story about that if you want to hear.
Yeah, I do.
My Uncle Ted, who recently passed away, was a veterinarian for many, many years. And he retired. He was quite elderly. He had to be in a care home, and he was having difficulty with memory and things. And they brought in a therapy dog to see him. And immediately he got down and he started giving it an exam. And I thought that was so sweet because he just, that's what he'd done all his life. And it sometimes I wonder if, what it does is it kind of connects you to a bigger life that you had. If you, like you're saying, talking about the elderly and stuff. And the folks who brought the dogs in thought it was so cute because he said, oh, okay, here's a dog. I know how to, and he, not just petting it, but let's take its temperature. Let's just check it out. Let's check its coat. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's so sweet.
That is really sweet, especially since that's how he related with animals his whole life.
Yes.
Like,
oh, yeah. Well, and loved them. I mean, he had them,
Well, right.
Yeah.
You have to. But so I saw that. All right. So you've come out with a book every year about, one a year for the last 3 years.
Yes.
And so what is in the works next?
Well, right now I'm writing I'm working on a book which is called Please Don't Feed the Mayor. And it's actually about a woman who lives in a very small town. It's a timber town in Oregon. And the town isn't doing well. The lumber mill is closed down. People are moving away. She's desperate. This is her hometown, and she wants to save it. And she sees a little article in the paper about a tiny town in England who has made a cat their counselor. And all these tourists come into town. And now, boy, the town's picking up. And she thinks, well, maybe I could make my dog the mayor. And we'd have the same thing happen to us. We'd revive the town and everything. So that's what she's going to try to do, is make her dog Shep. And Shep is a border collie. I love border collies.
Yeah,
well, I love all kinds of dogs. But, and he's very smart. And he's very personable. He's got a good handshake, just like a politician should have. And so the story's about that. Will she, won't she? What will happen if? So, but please don't feed the mayor.
That's awesome. Do you have a release date for it?
I do not. I know what I'm supposed to have it in.
Oh, okay.
I'm supposed to have it finished the end of March.
Okay. So we'll see it next year.
And I've already signed the contract for the next book, which is called Alaskan Catch. So that will actually take place in Ketchikan, Alaska. I don't know if they'll both be out next year, but they will both be due from me next year.
Awesome. Well, that's great. Can you show the cover for everybody again? Because I really want everybody to
see it. I will. I'd be happy to.
Because look at that puppy. And I'm so glad you wrote a dog book about Christmas, because I think it's so much fun to have, a Christmas book with a dog in it. I just, and I'm so happy that you made the time to talk with me, and that this will be out before Christmas, and, it's just perfect. So thank you for, allowing me to do that, and, for everybody. So if you want a Christmas book, you can still go out and get one, and,
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Susan. It was nice meeting you. Have a great day and a great holiday.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.